Tatiana's mother was in the kitchen making a pie when the phone rang. So her 12-year-old daughter Tatiana answered the phone. "Is there an adult in the house?" an unknown male voice asked. Tatiana handed the phone to her brother. "They told Big Brother that our brother Igor had died. The next day, my parents were called to the university and the nightmare began." Today, Tatiana is a grandmother in her 70s, but she remembers that day in 1959 like it was yesterday. Tatiana's mother objected to Igor going on a trip with his friends, saying that his graduation was coming up and he should focus on his thesis. But he begged her, "Let me go one last time, Mom." And it was indeed the last time. My mother could never accept the loss. She never forgave herself for letting her 23-year-old son go on the trip, especially because it was such a terrible and incomprehensible death. Ski trip. The missing students began their journey on a sleeper train on January 23, 1959. There were 8 men and 2 women. All but one were between the ages of 20 and 24. The oldest, 38-year-old sports instructor, Semyon Zolotaryov, had fought in World War II. It was possible to follow the students' journey up to a point through the diaries they kept and the photographs they took. Zinaida Alexeyevna Kolmogorova was assigned to keep the group's diary.
January 23rd, we are on the road again. We are sitting in room 531, or rather not sitting, but frantically stuffing oatmeal and canned meat into our backpacks. The chief of food distribution is making sure that everyone gets everything. The room is an artistic mess. And here we are on the train. We have sung all the songs we know, learned new ones, everyone goes to sleep at 3 a.m. I wonder what awaits us on this journey. What will we encounter? The boys have sworn that they will not smoke during the journey. I wonder how long they can go without a cigarette. Everyone falls asleep, and behind the window the Ural taiga spreads in all directions. January 24 a.m., we arrived in Serov. We were met very hospitably. At the station, we were not allowed into the train station, and the policeman was watching us closely. The train to Ivdel is at 6:30 p.m. We are looking for accommodation. Until then, finally, we are warmly welcomed at the school 200 miles from the train station. The attendant boiled some water and helped us with everything we needed to prepare for the hike. We have the whole day free. We want to go to the city, visit the nature museum, or tour a factory, but too much time is taken up with the distribution and cleaning of the equipment. Char 1200, we organized a meeting with students at school. The room was full of curious children. What's your name? Where have you been? Where have you camped? What are your favorite movies? On and on. The questions were endless. We had to explain and show each child everything from the torch to the tent. It took 2 hours and the children didn't want to leave us. They sang songs to each other. The whole school saw us at the station. When we left, the children shouted and cried and asked Zina to stay with them. They promised to behave and study well. In the train carriage, a young drunk accused us of stealing his drink from his pocket. For the second time today, the police are involved. We must sleep now because the bus to Vijay leaves early in the morning. January 25th, we managed to catch the bus. 25 full seats had to fit in the 25-seater bus, and 20 backpacks filled to the brim and the number of skis. Everything was packed to the ceiling. On the first tier, people sat on the seats, on a pile of skis, on backpacks. Passengers on the second floor sat behind the seats. They found legroom on the shoulders of their comrades. Still, it wasn't too narrow for singing, so we did it until Vijay. We arrived in Vihey around 2 in the afternoon. It turned out that we could continue our automobile journey the next morning. After dinner, in a warm and friendly atmosphere, we went to the hotel, an ordinary hut with 3 windows. Leaving Doroshenko and Kolovatov at home, we went to the cinema, saw the movie Symphonie in Gold, and returned in a musical mood. Now we are busy preparing the equipment. Tonight, according to the local commander, we will leave. January 26, what a hotel! We slept in 2 people per bed. Sasha, Kay, and Krivo slept on the floor between the beds. I woke up at 9 a.m. Everyone sleeps well, although we didn't close the small window completely and the room is a bit cold. The outside temperature is 17 degrees. We didn't boil the water in the morning. The boards were damp. In the evening, it took us 6 hours to boil the water. I had breakfast in the dining room, goulash and tea. When they gave us warm tea, Igor grinned and said, If the tea is cold, go drink it outside. It will be warm. Original thought. We negotiated to go to Settlement 41 in a truck. We left at 13:10 and arrived at 16:30. We froze pretty well in the back of the GAZ-63. As we traveled, we sang songs, discussed various topics such as love, friendship, cancer, and its treatments. In Settlement 41, we were warmly welcomed. They gave us a separate room in the hostel. We talked a lot with the local workers. I especially remembered the man with the red beard. Beard, that's what his friends call him. Ognev is an old friend, described in Liuda Dubinina's private diary. Lunch has been served, we have eaten, and now we are resting. Part of the group is watching a movie in the next room. The rest of the group is rummaging through their backpacks. Rustic plays the mandolin while talking to Kolya. I will make some adjustments to the equipment. January 27th. Today is the first day of our journey. The backpack is not much, but it's a bit heavy. Yes, Yuri Yudin is leaving us today. His sciatic nerve is inflamed again, and he's leaving. What a pity. We've distributed his burden among our backpacks. It turns out that on the last day we see some civilization, stoves, people, etc. Today we have arranged our backpacks to go on horseback, and we are waiting for them to be ready. And we will go skiing. Everyone is singing. The workers living in the huts have not gone to work. They are singing. We sit and write songs. Most of the workers are very talented, intelligent people. Especially bearded. His beard is red, 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 and his eyes are red and brown. The children sing well. Rustic plays the mandolin very well. Today was the last day Liuda and I slept in bed. Looks like we'll be in a tent tonight. We are now in the 41st quadrant. Our goal today is to reach 2nd Northeast. They say there is a hut there, but no one lives in it. Get on the road quickly. Get on skis. Shall we go? For some reason lately, I've been fascinated by music, guitar, mandolin, and others. Yesterday I watched 3 movies here, Alone, Estashoy Paren, and Symphony in Gold. I want to watch Symphony in Gold even more. January 28th. The weather's really good. The wind is at our backs, and the lads made a deal with the locals for a horse to drive us to 2nd North Settlement. But it will be about 24 kilometers from the 41st settlement. Oh, we helped Uncle Slava unload hay from a carriage and waited for the horse. It went to get more hay and wood. The boys started copying some songs. One man sang beautifully. We heard a number of illegal prison songs, Article 58, counter-revolutionary crimes. Ognev told Igor how to find a log house in which to spend the night. And we waited until 4 p.m. Before that, we bought 4 loaves of bread. Soft, warm bread, we ate 2 loaves. The horse is slow. What a pleasure to go without backpacks. We covered 80 kilometers almost in 2 hours. River Ushma, it's getting dark. The horse is causing the delay. Yuri Yudin is still well with He suddenly fell ill and he can't continue with the trek. He wants to gather few minerals for the university and return. 2nd North is an abandoned geological site consisting of 20 to 25 houses. Only one is suitable for living. In complete darkness, we found a village and the house. We started a fire with wood boards. Smoke came, formed the stove. Several people hurt their hands on old nails. Everything is well. Then the horse came. We were talking and joking till 3 in the morning. January 29th. Yurka's birthday's today. First, we go along the Lozva River and then to the Auspia. The places are beautiful. Mansi also passed along the Auspia. You can see their tracks, indents and path. There are often signs on the trails. I wonder what do they say? Now the Mansi's tracks turn south. We walked from a night on the Lozva River to a night on the Auspia River, walking along the Mansi Trail. The weather is good. In 13 degrees UC, the wind is weak. We often come across some frozen areas on the Lozva River, that's all.
January 31st. Today, the weather is a bit worse. It is windy. Snowfall, probably from the pines, because the sky is completely clear. I started relatively early, around 10 a.m. We went back to the Mansi Trail. We had been following the Mansi Trail until now, and a hunter had recently passed by here with a deer. Apparently, we came across his rest stop yesterday, and the deer didn't go any further. The hunter followed the trail alone, and we are following in his footsteps. We had a surprisingly good night, warm and dry, although it was 0 degrees. Walking is particularly difficult today. We can't see the path and have to grope our way at times. We cannot do more than 1 mile per hour. We try new ways to clear the path. The first in line drops his backpack, skis for 5 minutes, comes back for a 10-15 minute break, then catches up with the group. It's a way to leave a ski trail without stopping. It's hard for the second hiker though, who has to follow the new trail with full gear on his back. We leave the Ospia Valley slowly, all the way upwards, but very gently. The firs are replaced by a thin birch grove. The end of the forest is approaching. The wind blows from the west, warm, piercing, fast like the draft of an airplane on takeoff. Fir, open fields. I can't imagine setting up a labaz here. It's almost 4 a.m. I have to start looking for a place to pitch the tent. We're heading south in the Auspia Valley. Apparently, this is where the deepest snow is. The wind is not strong. The snow is 3 to 4 ft deep. We are tired, but we start pitching tents for the night. Firewood is scarce, mostly damp firs. We build the campfire on logs, too tired to dig a fire pit. Dinner in the tent. It is nice and warm. I can't imagine such comfort on the ridge, hundreds of kilometers from human settlements, with the wind howling outside.
On February 26, the rescue team found the abandoned tent, which had been torn apart and rendered unusable. Mikhail Sharavin, who found the tent, stated that it was torn apart and covered in snow, but that the group had left their belongings and shoes there. Later, researchers confirmed that the tent had been torn from the inside. The tracks, which belonged to 9 people, led to the forest area with only socks, sometimes bare feet, and a single shoe. After 500 meters, the tracks were covered with snow. Under the cedar tree at the entrance to the forest, charred wood and the bodies of Yuri Krivonashenko and Yuri Doroshenko were found. Both were wearing only underwear and socks. The wood they tried to burn was broken 5 meters above the cedar tree where their bodies were found. From this, researchers concluded that the two had climbed the tree to look for something, perhaps the camp or other members of the group. Researchers found 3 more bodies between the cedar tree and the camp. Igor Dyatlov, Selyona Zina Kolmogorova, and Rustem Slobodin. Researchers believe that the young men who were found 150 meters away from each other died on their way to the camp. The bodies were found 300, 480, and 630 meters from the tree, respectively. They were finally found on May 5th, 50 meters from the cedar tree in a ravine in the forest under 4 meters of snow. These 4 were better dressed than the others, and there were signs that the first to die had left their clothes for the others. Thibaut Brignol was wearing Dubinina's fur coat and hat. Dubinina was wearing a brown sweater that tested radioactive and was most likely Krivonashenko's. Zolotaryov had Doroshenko's Cholmoj's hat, and Kolewa Livatov was wearing Doroshenko's overalls. The waistband of his sweater and the bottom of his ski pants tested radioactive. The examination of the 4 bodies found in May changed the course of the entire investigation. 3 of the bodies had fatal injuries. Thibaut Brignol had extensive skull damage, while Dubinina and Zolotaryov had large fractures to their chests. According to Dr. Boris Vozrojdeny, the force required to cause such damage must have been extremely high. He compared it to the force in a car accident. It is noteworthy that the bodies had no external wounds, as if they had been crippled by high pressure. Dubinina was found to have no tongue and eyes. The group was clearly aware of the danger and did everything in their power to protect themselves. They managed to dig a den in the snow, covered it with branches to keep themselves warm, but things were about to get even stranger. A few meters away from their improvised shelter, in the deep part of the ravine, in an area of only 4 bodies were found. Some of the clothes taken from the bodies under the cedar tree had been placed on cedar branches, but they were apparently unused. So what killed them? The lack of eyewitnesses has inspired much speculation. Soviet investigators simply determined that a compelling natural force had caused the deaths. Access to the area was barred for skiers and other adventurers for 3 years after the incident. The chronology of the incident remains unclear because of the lack of survivors. Avalanche theory. This is not an avalanche-prone area. Kholat Shachol, Dead Mountain, is not tall, 1017 mine, and it is certainly not very steep. Furthermore, the opponents of this theory suggest that hikers' diaries report a fairly thin snow cover. However, these facts don't exclude the possibility of a small avalanche. The katabatic wind derives from the Greek word katabasis, which means descending. This type of falling wind can appear when cold air over a glacier or a mountainous area starts to flow down a gradient. The phenomenon can be described as a ball rolling downhill by gravity, hence it is also labeled gravity wind. A wind that carries high-density air from a higher elevation down a slope. The definition of a katabatic wind is sometimes also referred to as a fall wind. Since cooled air has a higher density than the surrounding atmosphere, the katabatic wind can sometimes accelerate to the force of a hurricane. Infrasound theory. As part of technological theory, there have been suggestions that an infrasound might have been responsible for sudden unpleasant feelings among the hikers. New research into rare weather phenomena has suggested that a perfect storm could have struck the campers in the night, panicking them so much that they would have fled the tent and fallen victim to the brutal cold before they came to their senses. Reindeer theory researcher Alexander Konstantinov published this theory in Ural Stalker in January 2013. He is pointing out the behavior of the reindeer, which when fleeing from a danger prefer to follow a trail, and that the Dyatlov Group may have pitched their tent on one. According to Konstantinov, all the injuries could be explained with a reindeer tripping over the tent. The weight of an adult deer is 100-200 kilona. Wolverine, Latin gulo. They love to eat, for which they got their name in Latin translated gulo, glutton. The weight of an adult individual ranges from 11 to 30 kilonum. They are known for their fierce and cruel temper. It is also the only beast that does not run away from danger, but attacks first. There are cases when a 30-pound beast has torn a bear, and there is a constant hunt for elks. And it's not just the character of the fighter. In addition to sharp claws, teeth, and powerful jaws have a secret weapon. Like a skunk, if absolutely necessary, they can spray a rather stinky liquid, a discharge from special glands. Facts this theory is based on. Testimonies of traces seen in the area. The group was eating at the time when something made them flee the tent. They were cutting loin. The smell of food had a hypnotic effect on a hungry, voracious beast.